So when the conflict had started with Israel and Hamas, a lot of people have been talking about that. Of course, I have a policy with that. Hey, I'm only going to focus in on Black America. I'm going to focus in on the diaspora. I mean, we have so many issues and problems that we need to focus on, because one thing that would also help me make that decision to kind of leave that alone is because it don't matter what side of the coin you take, you're wrong. So I don't believe in getting involved in lose-lose situations. I don't believe in that. If me just focusing on what I'm supposed to be focusing on is Black America and the diaspora, then I'm going to focus on that. That's what my energy going to. My energy going to go to reparations. My energy going to go to what's going on in the Caribbean, what's going on in the continent of Africa, what racism, white supremacy is doing, what these other groups are doing, how they're affecting our global community, right? I'm going to keep my energy and focus there. But then you have some Black people that didn't really get the memo. And see, it's not that we all had a discussion and said we're going to take that kind of stance. We just kind of say, because every time we speak on that, we're wrong. And we don't want to be considered wrong or being accused of being different things. So we just kind of just say we're going to just watch what happens and go from there. But the reason why I'm bringing that up, so the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, they had launched a multi-million-dollar campaign against some members of the Congressional Black Caucus over their views, as they on the Israel-Hamas conflict. Now, we know the Congressional Black Caucus is only Black in name. It's not a Black caucus. It is a Democrat caucus. It should be called the Congressional Democrat Black Caucus, because that's what it is. It focuses on Democrat issues. It focuses on prioritizing what the Democrats see is the priority, not Black people. If we really had a Black caucus, they would be advocating for us every day. If we had a Black caucus, they advocate for everything else outside of the Black community. Now, a Democrat strategist by the name of Amisha Cross has said that I believe this is shameful. She continues to say, I say that because there has been a long-standing history of support between the Black community and the Jewish community, which largely came from the uproots of the civil rights movement. That she continues to say AIPAC is a very large organization, a very well-funded organization, say one that has also experienced a lot of Black support from not only various CBC members, but also state and local government leaders who happen to be Black. Now, it's a super PAC, right? And so what the super PAC does is any candidate that will be pro-Israel, they will say, okay, well, I'm gonna donate to your campaign because you're pro-Israel, right? You'll support us, when it's time for voting, or you support, funding, you support, us, right? Now, I'm not mad at AIPAC for that. I believe we should have the Black American PAC, and we should be giving money to support any candidate that will be pro-Black America. We should be doing the exact same thing. That shouldn't be an issue. I don't have an issue with AIPAC. I really don't. We should be doing the same thing. But because people they gave money to and supported turned against them. So they said last week, they said the pro-Israel lobbying group announced that it will spend upwards of $100 million to unseat all 8 members of the so-called squad in the 2024 elections. Now, this includes Representative Jamal Bowman. He's never done nothing or spoke up for Black folk. Let's call it what it is. I don't have a problem with AIPAC going after him. Ilhan Omar, don't have a problem with AIPAC going after her either. So what has she spoke up for Black folk? Ayanna Pressley? When has Ayanna Pressley been speaking up and demanding reparations for Black Americans, right? Let's call it what it is. Summer Lee, what is she doing? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I got Black ancestry, but I'm not Black, her. And Rashida Tlaib. Now, Rashida Tlaib, I understand. Rashida is Palestinian. So I get why she's saying something. I get it completely. But I'm talking about the Black folks. I'm not depending on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to speak up for Black folk. That's not what I'm waiting for. I'm talking about the Black people. Not just those on the so-called squad. I'm talking about all the Black people. See, if you focus on the Black community, listen to me. This is why a lot of people don't even respect y'all. You don't focus on us. You focus on everything else. And that's an issue and that's a problem. Now, Ayanna Pressley said that AIPAC has become a right-wing group that spends millions in Republican donor money to silence anyone who advocates for dignity, humanity, and rights of Palestinians, Israelis, and all people. That's where you're wrong. All you got to do is go to the AIPAC website. Ayanna Pressley, you are completely wrong. They give money to Democrats and they give money to Republicans. They give it to both. Now, there's another political action committee called J Street. Now, J Street only gives to Democrats, but AIPAC gives to both. So you can't just say they right wing. They're so right wing, why they giving to Democrats? I'm just trying to, let's call it what it is. No, they say we give you money, we want your support. If you don't support us or you turn against us, well, we're going to get somebody else and put our money behind them. Now, if you did enough for your community, you wouldn't have to worry about getting unseated, right? So listen, if I was a congressman, the one thing I'm going to make sure is people good is the people that sent me there. So I will have at least a monthly town hall, at least a monthly, and say, hey, this was going on in Washington. What do I need to advocate for y'all? Hey, the cities in my district, what's going on? What we need to advocate for? So I can come back and say, I put this bill up, I did this and the third. This is the people that stood against it. I'm letting you know, like, just be extremely transparent. And then when something like, let's say if you take a position and no matter who it is, try to say, I'm trying to unseat Phil, right? Well, Phil wouldn't worry about it because Phil good in his district. They say, hey, Phil was right for us here. We're not voting for nobody else. You can put whatever you want to put up there about him. We're not voting for nobody. But these people don't take care of their districts. That's really what it is. Now, they continue to say it's unsurprising to say they would target progressive women of color and say with strong support in their districts and whose advocacy for a ceasefire is overwhelmingly supported by the American public, according to a Presley spokesperson. Cross said AIPAC's campaign against the squad and say it's heart-wrenched because of the fact it speaks to something deeper. They continue to say it's a step towards something that's being largely funded by conservatives to knock off black leaders, she argued. Cross says particularly troubling is as the group is targeting black lawmakers who are fighting for modern civil rights, equity, criminal justice reform, and education. Now, Congresswoman Lee took to X to respond to AIPAC, writing, it's a one PAC promising to spend $100 million against 5 working class black and brown representatives. It's a in working class districts is why we can't have a representative democracy. Well, if we as a community would fund our candidates, if we as a community would do what's right by our districts, and you don't have to take money from anybody else because the community got you, you would be in this position. See, when you take money from somebody, you're promising them you're going to advocate for them. Y'all took the money. Why are you mad at AIPAC? You broke the terms of the deal. You said you was going to support them and what they want, and then you turn around and didn't. So they say, okay, well, I'm going to give money to somebody else to get rid of you. You made the agreement and took their money. You didn't have to take their money. You took it. So don't get mad at them now. Maybe you should have been focusing on the black community. Now, of course, they say Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez also took the X, say, got to spend $100 million to unseat the few who believe in Palestinian human rights and a ceasefire that most Americans already support. They say the acceptable level of dissent is 0. You took the money, ma'am. They say in October 22, it said House Democrats, including some members of the squad, introduced a resolution demanding the Biden-Harris administration to encourage Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to call a ceasefire in the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Now, of course, they have a ceasefire right now, a pause for, they trading hostages from last time I read. It said the resolution came days after Hamas, as they launched an attack against Israel. They killed at least 1,200 people on October 7th. Said since then, more than 11,000 as they have died in Gaza amid the ongoing Israel and Hamas conflict. Now, I said in a previous interview, Congressman Bowman, the one that pulled the fire alarm to stop a vote, it said called for a ceasefire in the region and said that the president should be leading in terms of ceasefire and getting, it said, terms of a place where we're talking about toward a pathway forward. Cori Bush said she was disturbed by the U.S. government's willingness to immediately cave to calls for unconditional support and write a blank check and say for the Israeli military while blatantly ignoring the violence and dehumanization of Palestinian civilians. Now, Cross said she thinks this is a bigger moments. He said this is bigger than the war in Israel right now. He said AIPAC targets Congress, black and brown. AIPAC targets Congress's black and brown progressive leaders. She said, I don't think that the black community will forget specifically because of the power. You took the money. You took their money. You agreed with them that you're going to support them. And you talking about black, it was, why, if you were so much on about a black thing, then you should have said, nah, I'm only going to focus on pro-black issues. That's it. I'm focusing on black America. I'm coming from this district, I'm focusing on black. That's what I'm standing on. You can't get mad at them. And because they want to support somebody else basically and get you out of there, now it's a problem? Nah, So they say during the 2022 midterm elections, they say AIPAC endorsed 109 Republican congressional members, they say, who voted to overturn, they say, the 2020 presidential elections. The lobbying group was also a top donor for Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson's 2022 re-election campaign in Louisiana. Once again, they give money to Republicans and Democrats. They give it to both. So basically, no matter who wins, they win. That's the way that works. Most lobbyists do that, right? But no, I mean, hey, I'm not against AIPAC. No, I'm not on this one. No. If AIPAC get y'all out of there, good. Because AOC haven't done nothing good for black folk. Jamal Bowman ain't spoke up. Now, Cori Bush talked about reparations and put a bill up. You know, I at least give her this much credit for it, but she should have been advocating for that the whole time she been in there, right? But at least she did that much, you know, and I'm giving her honorable mention. The rest of them, if you're not fighting for black, and see, the reason why black people not coming to our rescue with this one is because when you don't fight for the community, you don't get community support. Ma'ams and sir, you don't get the support. Fight for the community and we'll be there to back you up. See, y'all think y'all can side with the folks and then they don't, you know what I'm saying? No, they're not going to support you. If you're not good with your community, you're not good with nobody. So you're on your own with this.